Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into a big one for Italian red wine, the Montepulciano grape.
It's huge, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, number two most planted red in Italy, only Sangiovese beats it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're into Italian wine, you really need to know about this grape. Think of this as your shortcut, your fast track.
Right. A deep dive tailored to get you up to speed quickly.
Our mission today, pretty simple. Pull out the most important stuff about Montepulciano, its history, where it grows best, how it's made, what it tastes like.
And we're building this on some solid insights, right? From a sommelier who really knows their stuff.
We'll trace its origins, look at how the place, the terroir, shapes it, check out the winemaking side, the sensory experience, and where it sits in the market. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. It's interesting because despite being so widespread, Montepulciano sometimes flies a bit under the radar compared to, say, Nebbiolo or Sangiovese.
Yeah, maybe not as flashy sometimes.
Perhaps. But its adaptability and the quality it can reach, that makes it really fascinating for a deep dive like this.
Okay, so origins first. Central Italy, right. Strong links to the Adriatic coast.
Absolutely. Think Abruzzo, Marche, Molise, even down into Puglia. That central Adriatic stretch is its historic homeland.
And we need to clear this up straight away, don't we? The grape versus the town.
Oh, definitely. It's probably the #1 confusion. Montepulciano the grape has nothing to do with Montepulciano, the town in Tuscany,
Which is famous for Vino Nobile di Montepulciano.
which is made mostly from Sangiovese. Totally different wine, different grape. Easy mistake to make, though.
So historically, back in its home turf, Montepulciano was more of a workhorse grape.
Pretty much. Reliable, productive, the go-to red for local drinking. It wasn't necessarily about making grand, age-worthy wines initially.
It's good, honest, everyday wine for the people there.
Exactly. That's the crucial background. But things have changed, haven't they?
Right. It didn't just stay as the simple local red.
Not at all. There's been a real shift over, well, the last few decades, I'd say. A move away from just maximizing yield towards focusing on quality, expressing the vineyard, the terroir.
And the regulations played a part. DOCs and DOCGs.
Hugely. When Montepulciano d'Abruzzo became a DOC back in, 1968, that was a big step. It encouraged lower yields, better clonal selection, thinking about sustainability.
Kind of setting a baseline for quality, or at least a direction.
Precisely. A roadmap, like you said. And it wasn't just happening out in the vines.
No, the wineries themselves changed too.
Yeah, big time. Temperature control during fermentation, that was massive. Using stainless steel tanks for cleaner fermentations.
And getting smarter about using oak.
Definitely. Understanding how different barrels, French oak, American oak, big barrels, small barrels, different toast levels, how all that could shape the wine's aroma, its structure, its feel.
So that brings us neatly to terroir. You mentioned expressing the vineyard. How much does the where really matter for Montepulciano?
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental. I mean, yes, the grape is adaptable. It grows in quite a few places. But the specific spot, the climate, the soil, the hills, it dramatically changes what you get in the glass.
Okay, so let's break down those key regions. Abruzzo's the big one.
Undeniably the heartland. You've got the main Montepulciano d'Abruzzo DOC that covers a huge area and a real spectrum of styles, from young, fruity, easy-drinking wines.
To the more serious Reserva bottlings.
Exactly. More concentration, more structure, meant for aging. And then within Abruzzo, you have a specific DOCG, Colline Terramane.
Right, the hills around Teramo.
Yeah. Stricter rules there, lower yields, longer aging. Generally, you're looking at wines with more depth, maybe more elegance. What's key in Abruzzo is that diversity, driven by the mountains, the Apennines on one side and the Adriatic Sea on the other. Lots of different microclimates.
Okay, and moving north a bit into Marche. Still important for Montepulciano.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Especially around Monte Canaro for the Rosso Canaro DOCG. These wines often have this really distinct structure, a kind of minerality.
Calcareous soils there, right, near the sea.
That's it. That combination gives them a specific character. They often blend in a little Sangiovese too, maybe up to 15%. It adds another layer.
So Conero is like Montepulciano with a bit of a salty structural edge.
That's a good way to put it. And you also find Montepulciano in Rosso Piceno DOC in Marche, again, often blended with Sangiovese.
And further south, Molise and Puglia.
Yep, it's present there too. Molise is smaller, but you find it sometimes even in their Tintiglia del Molise DOC, showing its potential in less famous spots.
And Puglia uses it more in blends.
Often, yeah. Blended with local stars like Negro Amaro or Primitivo. Montepulciano can add structure and those darker fruit notes to Puglian reds.
So it really can wear different hats depending on where it's grown. What are the big environmental factors shaping it? Climate.
Well, the overall Mediterranean climate is key. Those long, hot, dry summers give you ripe fruit, good color. That's the baseline.
But the sea must have an effect too.
Absolutely. The Adriatic moderates the heat, especially near the coast. It helps retain acidity, adds freshness, maybe even that hint of salinity we talked about in Conero.
And altitude, does that play a role?
A big one. Vineyards higher up get cooler temperatures overall, and crucially, a bigger swing between day and night temperatures, that diurnal range. It really helps develop complex aromas while keeping the acidity locked in.
Makes sense. Okay, what about the ground itself, the soils?
Soils are critical. You get different expressions, calcareous soils, limestone clay, like in Conero, they tend to give elegance, minerality, finer tannins, wines that can age well.
And pure clay.
Clay often means more body, maybe more pronounced tannins, also good for aging. Sandy soils, on the other hand.
Lighter, fruitier wines.
Generally, yes. Softer tannins, too. And then you might find volcanic soils in some pockets, which can add a whole other layer of mineral complexity.
So the sweet spot is often those hillsides with good drainage, plenty of sun, maybe that calcareous clay mix, and that temperature variation.
That's often where you find the top sites, yeah. The takeaway is that Montepulciano really soaks up its surroundings. It reflects where it's grown.
Okay, the where is super important. Let's talk about the how of the winemaking. You mentioned traditional versus modern earlier. Can you unpack that a bit more?
Sure. So traditionally, you might see longer maceration, leaving the juice on the grape skins for quite a while to extract color and tannin. And aging often happened in big, old, neutral containers, like large wooden casks, body, or even cement tanks.
Less focus on new oak flavors.
Right. Modern winemaking, well, it often brings in more precise temperature control, maybe uses stainless steel for fermentation to preserve primary fruit. They might use selected yeasts. There's generally more focus on managing the extraction, getting the right amount of tannin and color without overdoing it.
So different goals, different outcomes.
Kind of. The traditional way might give you more rustic tannins, maybe slightly more savory or oxidative notes sometimes. Modern methods often aim for brighter fruit, maybe smoother tannins earlier on, but
It's not always strictly one or the other.
no, not at all. Many of the best producers today blend techniques. Maybe they ferment in concrete, but age in some French barriques, some new, some old, or use large casks, but with very careful temperature management. It's about using the tools thoughtfully.
And these choices lead to different styles in the bottle for us, the drinkers.
Definitely. You get a few main styles. There's the young, fruity style. Winemaking here is all about keeping those fresh red berry notes, lighter body, soft tannins, minimal or no oak. Your perfect pizza or pasta wine.
Easy drinking.
Exactly. Then you have the more serious, full-bodied reds designed for aging. These will likely see longer maceration, maybe warmer ferments, and definitely some time in oak. Could be barriques, could be larger casks.
And that gives them complexity.
Right. You get darker fruits, spice, maybe tobacco, leather notes developing with time, firmer tannins, good structure for cellaring.
And the pink version, Cerasuolo.
Ah, yes. Cerasuolo d'Abruzzo is fantastic. It's a rosé, but often quite a deep cherry pink color. That's what Cerasuolo means. Short skin contact, focused on bright red fruit, dry, crisp, really refreshing.
So the winemaker's kind of guiding the grape towards one of these expressions.
That's a great way to think about it. They're interpreting the grape and the vintage.
Okay, let's say you've got a glass in front of you. What are the typical smells and tastes we should expect from Montepulciano?
Generally, the aroma profile leans towards black fruits. Think black cherry, plum, maybe some blackberry.
Darker fruits, then.
Predominantly, yes. But especially in younger wines or maybe those from cooler spots, you can get lovely red fruit too, raspberry, fresh red cherry. Often there's a secondary note like licorice or maybe a bit of anise.
And if it's in folk?
Then you start getting those tertiary notes, vanilla, maybe some chocolate, tobacco, perhaps leather as it ages. And depending on the terroir, you might get a subtle earthiness or minerality underneath it all.
And on the palate, what hits you?
Pretty much echoes the nose. Dark fruit usually leads, but it's balanced by this really refreshing acidity, which is a hallmark of the grape. Some can have a slight, pleasant bitterness on the finish, which adds complexity, I think.
And the feel of it. The body, the tannins.
Usually medium to full-bodied. Tannins can range from moderate and quite soft in the simpler styles to pretty firm and structured in the reservas or DOCG wines meant for aging. But that acidity usually keeps it feeling balanced, not heavy.
And again, Terroir and winemaking tweak all of this.
Massively. A Cerasuolo will feel light, zesty, all red fruit. A Colline Terramane Reserva will be much richer, darker fruit, firmer tannins softened by age and oak. A Rosso Conero might have that noticeable mineral streak alongside the fruit and structure.
It really pays to know the region or the style you're drinking.
Absolutely. Tasting them side by side is really eye-opening.
So any specific tips for someone actually tasting Montepulciano? Things to look out for?
Well, first, yeah, look at the color. Is it bright ruby, deeper garnet? Tells you a bit about its age and concentration. Then give it a good swirl, get your nose in there, try to pick out the fruits red, black, any spice, oak, earth.
Take your time with the nose.
Definitely. Then, on the palate, notice the attack. Is it fruity up front? Feel the acidity. Does it make your mouth water? Assess the tannins. Are they soft, chalky, grippy? And think about the weight, the body. Light, medium, full. And the finish, does it linger?
What about serving temperature?
Good point. Younger, fruitier styles are often nice with a slight chill, maybe 14, 16 Celsius. More structured reds, probably closer to room temp, say 16, 18 Celsius. Standard red wine glass is fine.
And decanting. Worth it for the bigger ones.
So the more structured Tannic Reservas or DOCG wines, especially if they're relatively young, yeah, decanting for an hour or so can really help soften the tannins and open up the aromas. It lets the wine breathe.
Okay, makes sense. So you've got your perfectly served glass. What food are we putting with it?
Ah, the fun part. Montepulciano is super versatile. It's really food-friendly.
So for those young, fruity ones.
Think classic Italian casual fare. Pizza, definitely. Pasta with simple tomato sauces. Grilled chicken or pork. Fresh cheeses, salumi. Even grilled vegetables. Easy pairings.
And the medium-bodied ones. Maybe a standard Montepulciano d'Abruzzo DOC.
Now you can step it up a bit. Richer pasta sauces, like a good ragu. Those amazing lamb skewers from Abruzzo or Rostaccini.
Right.
Roast pork, herb-roasted chicken, lasagna. Mushroom dishes work really well, too. Semi-hard cheeses like pecorino.
Getting heartier. And for the big guns, the Reservas, the Colline Terramane, Rosso Conero Reserva.
Match the intensity. Roast lamb is classic. Braised beef dishes, game stews, wild boar maybe, aged, flavorful cheeses, rich risottos. Things with substance.
And this Cerasuolo rosé.
Oh, lovely with antipasti platters, grilled fish or seafood, light veggie pastas, charcuterie, even chicken salads. It's surprisingly versatile, too.
So the key is matching weight and intensity.
That's the golden rule. You don't want the food to kill the wine or the wine to overwhelm the food, but honestly, don't be afraid to experiment. Your own preference matters most.
Good advice. Okay, let's quickly revisit those denominations we see on labels. Montepulciano d'Abruzzo DOC, Colline Terramane DOCG, Rosso Conero. Just remind us what they signify.
Right, so Montepulciano d'Abruzzo DOC is the broadest category, covering most of the region. Requires at least 85% Montepulciano. It's your introduction. Lots of styles within it.
And Colline Terramane DOCG.
That's a specific, higher quality zone within Abruzzo. Stricter rules on yields, longer aging required, generally means more concentration, complexity, and age-worthiness. Think of it as a premium sub-region.
Got it. And Rosso Conero, DOC, DOCG, over in Marche.
Around Monte Conero, near the coast, usually 85–100% Montepulciano, sometimes with that splash of Sangiovese. Known for its structure and that mineral edge from the soils and sea influence, the DOCG Reserva needs at least 2 years of aging.
And we might see Montepulciano in other DOCs too, like Rosso Piceno.
Yep, or Befferno in Molise. It pops up as a main component or blending partner in several central Italian reds. These labels basically tell you about origin, grape composition rules, and often imply a certain quality level or style profile.
Are there any specific producers or famous labels people should look out for if they want to try some top examples?
Oh, definitely. In Abruzzo, for benchmark wines, you have names like Emidio Pepe, very traditional, incredibly long-lived wines. Valentini, another iconic, almost mythical producer known for elegance.
More modern styles, too.
Yes, Mascarelli makes fantastic wines, especially their Marina Svetic line, which shows a polished, high-quality side of Montepulciano. Cataldi Madonna is a key name in the Colline Terramane zone. Tiberio is another great one, really focused on specific vineyard sites.
And for Conero?
Umani Ronchi is a major player. Their Cumaro Rosso Conero Reserva is very well regarded. Garofoli is another historic name. Their Grosso Agontano Reserva is a classic.
So plenty of great names to seek out.
Absolutely. That's just the starting point, but they represent the quality potential from these core areas.
And just wrapping up with the market side, what's the general picture for Montepulciano wines? Are they easy to find? What about price?
The great thing is, Entry-level Montepulciano d'Abruzzo DOC is usually widely available and offers fantastic value. Really good quality for the price.
So accessible for everyday drinking.
Totally. As you move up to the Reservas, the DOCG wines like Colin Terramane or Rosso Conero Reserva, the price obviously goes up. It reflects the lower yields, longer aging, higher quality.
But still good value compared to some other famous Italian reds.
Often, yes. I think Montepulciano, even at the higher end, can still represent excellent value compared to, say, top Barolo or Brunello. It's gained a lot of recognition internationally, so you'll find a decent selection in good wine shops and restaurants. It hits a nice spot between approachability and potential complexity.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Bringing this deep dive on Montepulciano towards a close, what are the big takeaways for you?
For me, it's really about appreciating the journey this grape has been on, from its workhorse roots to becoming capable of producing genuinely complex, terroir-driven, age-worthy wines.
And the importance of place.
Absolutely. How much the terroir Abruzzo versus Marche, coastal versus inland, clay versus limestone shapes the final wine. And its versatility, from fresh Cerasuolo to structured reservas, it shows how one grape can offer so many different faces.
It really does sound like a generous grape. Very adaptable, but also capable of reflecting its origins, capturing the soul of central Italy, perhaps.
I like that. Yeah, it's a wine that gives a lot and invites you to explore its different expressions.
Well, that feels like a good place to wrap up our deep dive today. But just one final thought for you, our listener.
Go on.
The next time you're looking for a red wine, maybe actively seek out Montepulciano. But don't just grab one bottle. Try maybe a basic DOC alongside a Reserva, or one from Abruzzo and one from Marche.
Experience that diversity firsthand.
Exactly. Taste how this one grape, shaped by different places and different hands, can surprise you with its depth and range. It's a great reminder that even familiar grapes can offer new discoveries when you really look at where they come from.
Well said. Happy exploring.
Until our next deep dive, happy tasting.